Hello and happy gaming, everyone. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and this is the game that I've been spending a lot of time on. I am going to be playing One Step from Eden, and I think this first episode I want to just kind of explain what exactly is going on in the game. Now, I've already unlocked a lot of things in the game, not everything, obviously, but this should be a pretty good means by which to kind of see what the game is all about. Some characters I have defaulted onto their alternate outfits just because I like the way they look. Priestess Hazel, even though she's an engineer, so this doesn't make any sense, but I like how it looks. Celicy, she's a girl in a hood and red cat. Yeah, turn her into a cat girl, what the hell. So, since we are basically looking at just what exactly is this game and how does it work, I'm gonna go with the kind of de facto main character, Saffron. Now, she's got a few different appearances. We've got her default appearance, where she's wearing the pink miniskirt, the white jacket, and the black tights. Got her dressed as a witch. Her dressed as Leah from Crosscode, which I thought was a very interesting little crossover. And this is apparently her original outfit from, I guess, when the game was either in Kickstarter or just in an earlier build. I'm going to stick with her default outfit just to make sure that no one gets overly confused. Sorry. Alright. Now she's got, looking at her stuff, this is her field bracer. This is basically her basic weapon. When I say basic, I don't necessarily mean simple, because these weapons get interesting. No, this is just her always equipped weapon. It just fires little bolts of magic. It's basically free damage, so there's no real reason not to use it. Doesn't cost anything. Second Soul is unique to Saffron, and the moment you lose all your HP, you heal for 600 and get back up. And then the spells you'll get to see them in more detail as we go on. Alright, that having been said, we're going to do normal game mode. Let's get into this, because I want to show you guys this game. Now, if this setup looks interestingly familiar to you, by all rights it should. This is essentially a kind of roguelike deck builder version of Mega Man Battle Network. Flawless Battle 1! Alright, so let's see. I think I'm gonna deal 10 damage to all enemies when I get hit, and I love adaptive armor. So, and again, to show you guys what adaptive armor is, I'm not going to take any of these spells, by the way. I'm just not... Air Slash is about the best thing, but I don't know, this spell seems weirdly inconsistent. Like, you can see on the preview that it hits multiple times when you fire it, because it's a piercing shot, but half the time when I fire it, I only hit once. So, I don't know what's up with that spell, but I'm just going to skip it. Then when we level up, we get to pick more relics to take. Alright, so Adaptive Armor. Gain 10 defense for 1 second when you get hit. It doesn't seem that great, but the fact of the matter is, this can really save you from those enemies that hit rapidly. Alright, so I typically choose not to go to the shop right away. I will build up some money first before going to the shop. So here you go, there's Saffron's basic attack. Now we want to take out the big square structure on the other end here, because that's just going to keep spawning these little rectangular mini tanks. And what a weird sentence to have to catch myself saying. And that's how you completely whiff with Step Slash. Bam! Thunder, bitch! Alright. So, we've got interesting things. Nothing amazing here. I think I will once again skip the rewards. We level up. What options do we get? So I was hoping to find something here that would work for my purposes. I didn't, so I'm just going to take a little bit of extra mana regen. Now, up here, you'll notice that there's this thing about focus, and right now, I have no focus whatsoever. Meaning that I can find spells of any brand and type, but while you have no focus, you also have your luck increase. So as you can see, I put on a focus and my luck went back down to 3. Now, I don't think it's that big a deal to lose a little bit of luck in exchange for finding more spells of a certain type. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to focus on Glimmer and Phalanx. And I'll probably end up changing my Glimmer focus later once I have the spells from that brand that I want. Alright, so here is a hostage battle. Basically, the idea being, there is a hostage that needs to be rescued. So yeah, 2 damage isn't a huge amount, but it adds up with how quickly you fire. Minefield, Smog. These are both not terrible. And Iron Will, I don't know. It's one of those spells that, yeah, I see it does 200 damage and it costs no mana, but then it also gives the target 180 shield, so if I'm not killing them, then yeah. This is one of those things where, even though I don't necessarily dislike it, I would rather wait until I have an attack that can negate shield, because otherwise I'm just helping my enemy a little too much. It basically amounts to only actually doing 20 damage. Okay, I thought for sure I had missed that attack, but... Ah, lame. There we go. Now, not every hostage gives you health when you save them. I'll take Explosive Tendons. Ooh, level 3. And I'm gonna take Mana Gem, because there's a good chance that... Alright, so there's a good chance that I'll end up finding spells that... Oh god. There we go. So busting open the treasure chest is worth another relic. Restore 3 mana when you kill an enemy. Okay. Shield Catch. I'm not the biggest fan of Shield Catch, but it is more shield. So yes, I will take it. I was explaining something, and now I completely forgot what it was. Oh yeah, so not every hostage is necessarily the captive nurse. There are two other types of hostage. And we'll probably see them in a short amount of time here. Alright, so we need Thunder and we need Step Slash. Or Step Slash. There we go. The hostages, not a big fan of any of these. And here's our first boss, Celicy. Aren't I cold in this outfit? I mean, you know, probably, but I mean, we don't talk about that. So as you can see, what the deal with boss fights is that you need to be able to read patterns and react to them. Everything that happens in this game happens in real time. So you need to be able to move around on the tiles and react to what's happening without making too many mistakes. Now, sometimes that's easier said than done, but the whole idea is simple enough. Now, I've battled Celicy a lot, so I have a pretty good idea of what her patterns are like. That was a good kinetic wave. But some enemies' patterns are just ridiculous. Now, the thing is, you'll have a pretty good idea of which enemies you're going to be facing where, because they always show up in essentially the same spots. Like, you'll always see Celice in an Arctic area. You'll always see Hazel in a forest area. You'll always see Terra in a ruins area. Now, you may not know who all these people are, but don't worry, you will. Now, once again, I'm pretty versed in how to fight Celice, so even though it looks like I'm having an easy time with this battle, trust me, it's lovely. It's really only because I already have practice. So now at this point, you can choose to attack them again and finish them off, or you can spare them by just moving onwards. If you spare them, you'll get a 400-point heal, and they'll show up sometimes to help you out later. I'm going to choose to leave her alone, and so she gets up, heals, and then I can just go on about my way, and she'll show up later. Well, as a matter of fact, she'll show up right now, just to demonstrate my point. Thank you, Celice, you're the best. So what she does is she pops up to help out by softening up the enemies a bit, just making life a little easier. Entrench. This is a pretty good way to get yourself some shield. It's worth 80 shield actually, so it's pretty worthwhile. The red path. This actually is a dark path. The encounters that you run into here are more difficult, and say if you come across a treasure chest or a shop, it changes things up. But thing is, if you go down the dark path, it also is a temporary boost to your luck, so you'll get better rewards. I will take the dark path here. The only problem with Entrench, and you just saw it there, is that it roots you in place for a couple of seconds. But is the 80 shield worth it? I would say it is. The nurse will help me out there. Not a big fan of the zigzag or crossfire. Crossfire is better for a different character's build, but I just don't like it for just basic Saffron. As you can see, the encounters are worth more experience, too. So, game, I just want you to understand, there are... Okay, I wasn't able to save that one, that was my bad. Shields up, alright. So, I tend to like stacking shields, not because I'm awful at this game, but mostly because it enhances your survivability. Alright. Smooth. And so as you can see now, we have an artifact that makes it so that when I shuffle, I just do 20 damage. And you can always choose to manually shuffle by hitting, in my case, left trigger. Ooh, Infinity Bead. Now we're talking. That's one of the glimmer spells that I really like. Alright, so one of the things that changes on the dark path is the shop. First of all, you'll notice that the shopkeeper seems really annoyed. Secondly, you'll notice that there are things for sale that are like the arrow pointing down, that's your health. That's kind of like a digital representation of a heart. So take that for what it's worth, but yes, these things cost health. But there are some things here that I think are absolutely worth it. First of all, the Caltrops spell. Now that doesn't seem like a lot of damage, like 30 damage, and the spikes just sit there. So here's the thing: it hits in a cross pattern, and it's not just once. It's anytime someone moves over those spikes, they do more and more damage. It'll just be 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. So you can see how that would be helpful over a period of time. So that I'm willing to spend some health on. Stop hitting myself. Bitch, you're the one selling these things for health. So there's also artifacts for sale. You can make packs to gain some sort of bonus. In this case, I could take Cell Shield to gain an upgrader, which normally costs 60, but they go up in price by 10 every time you buy one. So getting one for a different cost is kind of worthwhile. By the way, I am going to go deep on this. I will take a Blue Blood. That's going to allow me to start battles at full mana, so I can just immediately get into the fray of things. And I will make a pact. My shields will decay quickly for a couple of fights, but it will also allow me to upgrade a spell. Hopefully you're catching all of this, because I'm trying my best to explain as much as I can, but there is a lot to go over. So let's thin my deck a little bit. You start with one remover. I'm going to remove Frostbolt. I just don't have a Frost synergy going, so the hell with it. Alright, Infinity Beam. Alright, so when you upgrade a spell, you get to pick what you want to upgrade it to. Now, in this case, I know which one I'm picking, but I'm going to explain them all. This one is the E one. It just gives you a flow when you go to use it, which sometimes affects other spells. This one is one that makes whatever spell you're doing only cost 1 mana, but it halves its damage. Now, you may notice I have 4 max mana, so I'm not worried about the mana cost. This is the one I'm going to take, Infinity Beam A. So now every tick of damage that Infinity Beam does will be doing 20 more damage. And remember how this spell works. As long as you're holding it, it keeps doing damage. So even if you can't hold it very long, like say you cast it and then in a few moments you have to move, those extra damage ticks are definitely worth it. So definitely take that. I will also purchase an upgrader. I think I will upgrade Shields Up. Double cast is generally what you want from Shields Up, so you get double the shield out of it. Alright, so here we're seeing our first example of... Oh, that's not good. Of a different hostage. Sorry, my brain broke. I will take Forte. That particular hostage makes it... like, when you rescue a hostage in green, they just give you a free relic. So, completely worth it. Alright, Riva, the Shield Maiden. I've made some terrible things, apparently. Alright, so... You'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, it says Riva 2. Now, what that means is that... Oh, my shields are decaying quickly. Fortunately, I'm fighting a low-level boss. But what that means is that every boss has a series of different attack patterns. There, now every time she walks across those caltrops, she's going to take 30 damage. It's absolutely beautiful. Now I'm just waiting for a good opportunity to use Infinity Beam, like right here. Right, and the best way to use Infinity Beam is just to use it until you have to move. And there you see a bit of a light synergy. By the way, it took me a while to figure out how to properly dodge those. And there we go. Now, I'm going to let Riva live, because her bonus is that you won't see her show up until I lose all my HP, but she saves you from death and gives you a 400 HP heal. She's very much worth saving. Now we're going back to the Arctic. The second boss... So every biome has 2 bosses. The second boss in this biome is a lady named Violet. Now, she's one of my favorite characters to play. You want to just come down here into this beam? Here, just kind of wander down here, you little square tank. Come on. You can do it. My little cubic friend. Come on down here. No, just move down one. Move down one. Sir, you're being a jerk. Down. Down. No, down. Alright, I'm gonna have to go after you. Should have just done that from the beginning. But every biome has 2 bosses. Violet is the second boss of the Arctic biome, and in my opinion, if you save her for later, you are making your job so much harder. I highly recommend take out Violet at rank 1 or 2, because as soon as she hits rank 3 or 4, she's just stupid powerful. So I had mentioned a light synergy before. What I mean is, if you drop Caltrops and you have something that can force movement, you can... I will take this because this is going to be good at keeping my shield up. You will... Like, if you force them to move, you can actually... Beautiful. You will, like, they'll... Even if their movement across the Caltrops is... I don't want any of these. If their movement across the Caltrops is forced, they still take damage. Alright, we're gonna come down here. So you can probably see it on the like little compass rose over here, but cross swords is a regular battle. Distress means that you're going to guaranteed find a hostage there, and there are some artifacts that if you have them in tow, get stronger and stronger as you rescue more hostages. So if you have something like the Merit Badge or something along those lines, you definitely want to go to those to find more hostages. The tiles that I can go to are Mini Boss, which is a guaranteed relic but a harder battle in general, or just a regular battle. Then you can see there's a treasure, which I'm going to take that road because I don't have a ton of money and I don't really want to go to the shop without at least 150 to 200 plus. So I'm going to hit the treasure chest, the distress, and then finally the boss, Violet. There we go. Lovely. And throw the ring at you, and we're good. Warp rays. I think I'm good. So there are multiple strategies that one can employ for this game. The strategy that I rather like is just building up a bunch of shield. And let's see. Okay, wasn't able to break that treasure chest. I don't know why I shuffled there. I probably should have just kept going for spells. Cast the spell in the other slot and backfire. Backfire, consume spell in other slot. I'd rather not do that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Shattersaw, but maybe someone knows something about that spell that I don't. Alright, so here you can see we've got 2 hostages. So we are going to do our best to save both of them. And all they need to do is just survive for a certain amount of time. So, beautiful. We get 2 relic choices out of this. Mana Jam. See, I don't have a problem with jams. There are actually deck setups that work with jams. But I don't think I want to clog up my deck with them, so we're going to call that good. Dead enemies leave a flame behind. I'm down for that. Shattersaw again, huh? You know what? I'm gonna take it. What the hell? I know I said I wasn't going to, but sometimes you change your mind. Lucky me, I get a free concert. So one of the things that's difficult about Violet is this first attack that she does. And she always does that attack first, as far as I can tell. but very counterintuitively to how boss fights work. You actually want to step on those green spaces in order to get some free shielding, because she will launch an undodgeable attack afterwards, and the way to dodge it isn't necessarily to dodge it, but just to face tank it. So what you're seeing here is her other big attack pattern, and that is she will... Hold on. And that is she will just drop beams of light on the battlefield in patterns. The other thing I find, that's the attack I can't stand, is when she drops those amps on your side of the field. Because the sound waves that the amps produce do inflict damage on you. They're not just there for show. So one thing you may have noticed about Violet is that her attacks play to the rhythm of her song, which I think is really neat, honestly. Alright, so there's a possibility that that could be Hazel, and I wouldn't mind that because she's kind of difficult on high difficulty. The two enemies that you can run into in the Fiery Realm are Gunner and Saffron herself. So obviously I'm playing as Saffron, so I'm not going to run into Saffron. But I could just go deal with Gunner. I could also fight Terra, who honestly I don't think is that difficult. Gunner is kind of average difficulty. Hazel, I think, is average to above average. So none of these enemies I find to be incredibly difficult or distressing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hope that this is Hazel and cut her off at the pass before she gets stronger. It is Shiso, so, you know, best laid plans of idiot YouTubers. Oops! I cast the wrong spell. Oopsie poopsie. It's alright, I was at full health, so I'm not too worried about it. Shine! I love this spell. This spell basically just concentrates a bunch of beams of light on one spot. This is beautiful for boss fights because it's just a quick 240 damage. And then if you upgrade that can do so much more. So our goal is going to be the shop because we want upgraders. So we need to take the upper path. And here you see the third type of hostage, which is the yellow hostage in the top hat. Rescuing the hostages I guess they're in black actually. Rescuing them gets you a monetary bonus after you rescue them. So you've got the nurses in red, you've got the collectors in green, and I'm guessing they're bankers, I'm not 100% sure. Alright. So what Violet does when she shows up is she plays you a tune that just gives you a spell power bonus. Now that time it wasn't my fault, these wolves are just assholes. I do like Energizer. Energizer is a spell that just gets continually better the longer a fight goes on. So it's good for later game boss battles. Just take the Mana Vein. Now we have to go this way in order to... There we go, beautiful. So that enemy that was firing laser beams was actually trying to show you the Trinity mechanic. And that'll become more important when I go to show you what Violet is like, but basically what the Trinity mechanic is... Hold on, let me see. Alright, so here we have the Merit Badge. This is what I was talking about when I was saying there are things that actually work out better for you the more hostages you save. This one is going to permanently improve my spell power by 1 whenever I save a hostage. That is a beautiful artifact to have, and I will I will be doing my damnedest to make sure that I get that to work. Alright. We're gonna improve Shine. So we've got two things that will work out quite nicely. The bonus 20 damage will improve this from 240 to 400 total damage. That's big. Piercing will basically make it so that the bolts of light that converge can hit on those outer tiles. And this will basically make it so that if they do hit something on one of the outer tiles, that they'll just continue to go through to their convergence point in the middle. I think I want to go with the bonus damage, but both of those are good. Then the question becomes, what do I do from here? I think I'm going to donate some blood to get some more money, and we're going to take the Hit Seeker. And that is going to make it so that whenever one of my spells connects, there's a 10% chance to launch a missile that'll do an extra 40 damage. Now, I'm sure you've already noticed that I've got spells that hit frequently, like Infinity Beam and Shine. That's going to make that Hit Seeker a very attractive offering. All right, the little Trinity fucker there. There we go. So what happens with these guys is every time you move, it builds up a Trinity. So Trinity 1, nothing. Trinity 2, nothing. Trinity 3, fire a laser. There we go. That's how those guys work. I will take the Ice Shield. Plus the self gain of Fragile is dangerous. But it also means that I can use Entrench without rooting myself if I get to it while Fragile is active. So definitely take the Ice Shield. Alright, I'm now going to change the Glimmer focus to Double Lift. There are Double Lift spells that I think would be beneficial for me. Alright, so you'll notice that Shiso is rank 3, which means he's going through the Tier 3 difficulty of his pattern. Ah, not enough mana. So his Step Slash doesn't do a ton of damage, but it does force a jam into your deck, so you want to try not to let that happen. Okay, so because he can force you to move, he can... Oh, and there... So he can force you to move, which inadvertently makes it so that Infinity Beam just ends. Now, the one downside with the strategy of stacking shields so that you have more survivability is that shield, every time you shuffle, gets reduced by about 40%. So it's not like it just stays with you forever. It would be nice if it did, but... There we go. So what Shiso does is that he will show up on campfire spaces and will give you just a little extra money. It's nice, but I think I would rather have a card pick and a relic, so I'm just going to shoot him. I know, I'm a terrible person. There's one of the things I wanted Double Lift for. Echo, cast the last spell cast. So let's say you have a spell in your deck that consumes itself, so you can only cast it once. Echo will basically make it so that you can cast it twice. It's very nice. Restore 1 mana when you get hit, that's nice. can also remove another redundant card from my deck, so let's quick look and see if there's anything here that I think is incredibly redundant. And actually, yes, I think Step Slash at this point can just get yeeted into the abyss. I don't dislike Step Slash, but it is probably the odd one out here. So get rid of that, and then we'll move on. So Terra, Gunner, and Hazel. I think we're going to go after Hazel. She's going to be at rank 3, and I just kind of want to make it... I just don't want her to get any stronger. So these guys, when you hit them with a spell, tend to get shield, but it also gets damaged immediately. So they're odd. I don't have a frost focus, so I'm not too big on taking ice hockey. I don't create any structures, and I, for some reason, cannot hit with this spell to save my life. So I'm just gonna call it good there. Mana Vein, Harpoon. Just take the Mana Vein. I don't have a Flow or a Trinity focus, so we're just not going to worry about that. Hazard. This is the one I didn't talk about. This spawns a slightly more difficult battle that has some sort of hazard. Now, the hazards range in a few different areas. They can either be like a volcano, a missile bay that fires a slow missile that if it lands just wipes out everything doing 400 damage. Which of course includes you. You don't die, but you do take a bunch of damage, so it can kill you if you're low on health. Other hazards include, let's see, self-defense turrets. That's one of the more interesting ones. Let's see what the hazard here is. Of course, it's a volcano because, you know, fuck my life. And this is just what the volcano does. It just spews random garbage onto the battlefield. And that's the other thing that I can use Echo for, is to... Ooh, I love that Spirit Sword. And you'll see the sorts of things I can do with Spirit Sword later, but for now, just understand that even though it says damage 30, it's going to be doing a lot more than that. Okay, I need to get to an ability that can... There we go. Oh, sad. Okay, well that's one down. I'm sorry. Alright, so... By the way, if I wasn't showing off what everything did and meant, I would just be going strictly for hostages right now. So that is what the Spirit Sword does. It's just a sword of light that you hold out in front of you, and every time you move, it damages whatever is on those tiles. Get rid of these two. So Spirit Sword is quite valuable, especially against larger opponents. Counter-Strike. Fire a shot and gain 50 shield. It protect, but it also attack. Spelled horribly. Incline is good, but I have enough good attacks. Let's make sure we have some... See, the thing is, Counter-Strike is an offense and a defense. I love that. Alright, so we need to do right about a lot of damage. There we go. So next level, it might make it so that there's a good Trinity shield, Trinity ability to take. This is not good for this build, so I won't worry about it. Stasis is interesting, but you can't do anything while you're there frozen, so I'm not going to take it. Stop. now I need that. There we go. And that's another hostage save, so it's more spell power, it's a heal, it's all the things I like. That particular shield spell will actually create problems for me because it's going to make me consume my spells. Not taking it. Alright, so she will try to empower those if I let her. Hey, you want to step up here? Hazel, come up here. Step into the light. No, Hazel, step into the light. You don't understand. This is important. For science. Alright, fine. So there you go. That's the sort of thing you can do with the Spirit Sword. Is it can clear out threats real quick. All right, so that was not the smoothest thing I've ever done. Love that Spirit Sword. And there we go. So, do I really need the heal, or would I rather have a little bit of extra experience and a relic? I think we're going for that. Which, by the way, for those of you who know the lore of the game, what I just did was really fucked up because these two are supposed to be friends. But my choice. I think we'll take Cassidy's scarf. Alright, so Gunner and then Terra. We'll take on Gunner, who's going to be at his peak form. Bam. So these kind of like semi-cowboy enemies, which I only call them that because it looks a little bit like they're wearing a cowboy hat. They use sweeper attacks, which, that's just so much fun. I mean, now we will take Glass Cannon because Fragility is actually working out for us with Entrench. Alright, so we have a route that has 2 hostage scenarios before a shop. We're going to take that. There you go. A little extra cash, thank you. Railgun. If I had a jam focus, that would be beautiful. I don't, so no worries. It consumes itself, and it's easy to... and it's not always the easiest thing to do, but you use it once, and it's gone, so I might as well take it. You know, like that. Wildfire. It's good for a flame focus, but not so much here. Now, Shard Toss seems free, but I'm going to explain why I don't like Shard Toss. First of all, the explosions that the shards create only do 50 damage. Which, considering the sort of commitment that you're putting yourself into when you throw out the shards, and it doesn't do it very quickly, for one. For two, the shards can be destroyed. And for three, they fly out onto random tiles, which, yes, they have a wide area of effect, but again, it's just uncertain, and you certainly can't use these to save a hostage, so no can do. And I think I'm good on Fragile. Or Showdown. Good Fragile, that's just the name of the spell. There we go. No thank you. No need to take anything here. Alright, let's talk to the shopkeeper again. By the way, I just noticed, when you play as her, she has red eyes, but when you meet her as other characters, she has green eyes. I wonder if there's supposed to be I wonder if there's anything to that. Anyway, so all I really want to do is upgrade some of my spells. So I'm going to go upgrade, upgrade. Now I can't afford any more upgrade. But we can do things like upgrade Echo, or see if we can just upgrade the Spirit Sword again, because the flow is not helping. But if I were to add a second upgrade to it, like, you know, bonus 20 damage, that's huge. Alright, so I'm gonna quick explain the triangular-shaped enemy. That enemy doesn't do anything until you cast a spell. The moment you cast a spell, it teleports to the inverted tile on its grid. So as you can see, it's currently on the, let's see, using XY coordinate. It's on X4, Y2. As soon as I cast a spell, it's going to go to X1, Y3, and it's going to launch a fireball from its previous location. So what I can do with that knowledge is set up a spell that will hit it as soon as it moves. Like, for instance, haha, I hit you anyway, because you're a dick. But if there's something in the spot where it would normally go, then it can't move, so you can just hit it. Just be careful of the fireball it launches. Shots deal damage of spell in other slot. Now, I do like this because if you have a huge damage spell in the other slot, this is basically that amount of damage times 2. So it would be good for Thunder. It would be good for Energizer, but if I don't have one of those, it wouldn't be so great. I am going to take it anyway because it is a good way to do big damage to a specific target. And now we're on to fighting Gunner. There we go. So something to remember about Gunner is that this is an enemy that wants to spend a lot of time in the back rows, so if you have things that can hit back there, you can use it that way, or you can just essentially predict his movement because you know that he's going to want to spend a lot of time in the back row. Or if you get something like Spirit Sword, it won't even matter. There we go. Ow. There we go. Alright. Looking good. Like that. Now I'm going to get rid of the bombs that he dropped on my side of the field. And there we go. Gunner is down. I am fast, thank you. Now I will save Gunner because if I get into some trouble, I can meet him at a campfire, and he will drop a medkit on me that heals for roughly lots. You know, just a rough estimate. I don't want you throwing out those stupid buzzsaws. So if you're wondering why this enemy is only taking 1 damage whenever I do anything to him, it's because he has 250 defense, which means that an attack would need to do at least 252 damage before it takes more than 1. I don't want any of these. Let's see. I don't need to go the dark path, so I won't. Thank you, Celisy. All spells give flow stacks. So I'm not running a flow build, so this doesn't really help, but it is cool to see. Now, these two spells are basically freebies. Firewall just creates a wall of flames that, if the enemy spends enough time sitting in them, will do a lot of damage. And Anubis is just free poison. This is a set it and forget it spell. Now, I know what final boss I'm going up against, so I'm going to take the Firewall. So, these enemies, I call them enemies, but I mean, that's a little bit of a misnomer. They contain the structures, and they do count as structures, by the way, that you're seeing over there contain evil monsters called Quarrelings. They're essentially winged snakes with blades at the end of their tails, so they move really fast, they like to get in your face. I do not like them. I will take Shield Beam. That's another one of my favorite spells. And we'll take the Ruby. Actually, no, let's see. Both of these are good. Deal 5 damage to all enemies when you cast a spell is really good, and it just adds up over time. It's good for long fights. Speed Loader reduces shuffle time by 1 second. Neither one of these is a bad pick, but let me explain why I would normally take Speed Loader first. There is a mechanic added to the game that the more often you have to shuffle your deck, the longer it takes to actually complete the shuffle. Every shuffle you do increases the time of the next shuffle by 1/10 of a second. So it takes a while for it to build up, but it does add up. And I think it's kind of crappy that they did that, because it makes it very difficult on people who play thin decks. And that kind of used to be the meta, and now Thomas Moon Kang has decided to add that in to make it difficult. So that having been said, Speed Loader would pretty much be the better option here. My deck is about 20 cards thick, so I'm going to take Ruby. Again, I know what boss I'm coming up against. I want that extra damage. And now if I want to get to the shop, I've got to go through a mini-boss. So let's see what sort of... Mini-bosses will almost always have a thing that looks like a monolith that just does crazy, crazy things. So let's see what monolith I get this time. So in order to get to the monolith effectively, I had to go ahead and release the Quarreling, which honestly wasn't that bad. The thing did not do much aside from just get ruined. All right, I really got to be careful what I do against. There we go. Saved the hostage. So you'll notice that the Spirit Sword made that incredibly easy. That's because that spell is amazing, especially once it's upgraded. No. Come back here. So, I am going to buy a mana... No, actually, I'm not sure I'm going to buy a mana gem. I think I'm just going to buy 2 upgrades. Now, the things that I'm going to upgrade... Now, by the way, you can stack these upgrades on one spell. But I tend to like to spread my upgrades around. Bonus 20 shield from Entrench, not bad. Now, do I upgrade Caltrops, or do I upgrade, like, Forte? I'm not going to upgrade Energizer. I could also upgrade Echo. I think I'm going to upgrade Caltrops. Beautiful. So there you go. That's pretty much how that works. Now we are going to Echo, drop another wall of fire on the guy back there throwing the energy saws. And there we go. I love this one. Shot deals 10 damage for each spell in your deck. I am going to take that, which means that that one spell will be doing 210 damage. I love it. Alright, now Terra at her maximum. Like I said, I don't think she's that difficult, but that's because I'm used to how she functions. There we go. Owie. So Shield Beam, the way that Shield Beam works, and that is a spell that I just recently took, so I wasn't able to say anything about how it works before. It procs 20 shield on your character, but it hits twice, so it can do up to 40 shield. So what you want to do with Shield Beam is, if you can upgrade it, you want to upgrade it so that it gets in, so you have bonus 20 shield. There we go. Now, I am going to let her live for the 400 damage heal, but it's because I'm more or less just going for the neutral ending. If I were going for the true genocide ending, I would just roast her ass. Alright. Yes, birds. So, the way that this boss works, it basically has 4 body zones that you can target. So, the zones that are active right now are body zones 2 and 4. And this is one of the reasons why I say it's good to stack some shields. Because this enemy has tons and tons of health, and will have absolutely no qualm about overwhelming you. And again, this is very much why I took Firewall, because I knew I was fighting this enemy. And, okay, so now you can see the big cannons that become active at zones 1 and 3. Now, I hate the searchlights. Those are basically just, hey, here's some hit scan damage. Can't do anything about it? Oh, too bad. I very much hate the searchlight attacks. But then, like I said, this is one of the big reasons why I like Firewall. Because Firewall is going to do a ton of damage to every body zone at once, essentially. And there we go, it's down. So now Seraph is going to show up and basically one-shot me. There's Cassidy's scarf. Yeah, problem is, I don't know how to dodge that. And Riva can't protect you from it. So, I don't know how to get any further than that, but I did what I wanted to do, I beat the gate, and I got a good chance to talk about a lot of how the game works. This is going to be a long intro video, but hopefully beyond this point. And as you can see, I've gotten all of the unlocks that are available right now, so nothing further to unlock there. So at this point, hopefully you get a pretty good idea of how the game works, you have a pretty good idea of what's going on, so future episodes of One Step from Eden can just be me playing the game and trying to be a smartass as per usual. You know, the usual affair. So, thank you very much for watching. I know it was a long one, but hopefully it was at least somewhat informative. Anytime something comes up that I think is very interesting about the mechanics or that might be a little bit misunderstood in the game, I will definitely do my best to go over. So, there you go. So, again, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more One Step from Eden in the near future. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I will be seeing you. Like, comment, subscribe. You know, the stuff.